Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Today I'll be reviewing an interesting professional game that I watched on FoxGo server about 2 weeks ago, I think, between Kuja and Kim Myounghoon. Kuja has the white stones and Kim has the black stones. I chose this game because you're going to see that black plays a very heavy Moyo style, so I thought it was interesting how both players, one, got into that position, but also how both players handled the situation. So if you want to know how to play Moyo, but also know how to invade a Moyo, this is a good video to watch. Now, first few moves are, of course, standard. I know Kuja, a lot of his games, he really likes this kick and jump. So if the number 2 player in the world likes it, obviously it must be good, right? But basically the idea is you're looking for Sente while trying to, of course the corner isn't white's yet, but try to map out a pretty decent corner territory in Sente. As opposed to playing a basic move like this, which still allows black to attach, which would let black take the corner in Sente if black wanted, or this sort of move, which leaves behind this Aji, where if white connects, black can then slide. So if you want to play the high move, but you don't like this peep, the kick first. So this is why you see this kick a lot nowadays, and Kuja really likes this move. Kim plays a very standard move. I would maybe think about playing a move like this. Kind of protect the corner more so than the side. But of course this move isn't bad. I think because white played high here, white would be able to attack these 2 stones better, might be the reason. If white had played low, then if white tried to invade somehow, it would be easier for black to run out. But since white played high, I think black wants to protect these 2 stones a little bit better. And then white invades a 3-3. And if you're not accustomed to the new 3-3 variations, this block on this side might look wrong, right? Because it looks like black is blocking on the incorrect side, but actually the new 3-3 variations are so flexible that you can actually block on this side, but actually get a wall facing the top side. And we'll see that. And then jumps. So basically, no matter what happens, black's going to get a wall on this side. For example, so in the game white played this one, but another very common variation is here. And if white hanes, black can then hane here, and then cut here. And after this, there are 2 common moves to think of. One is this cut, where you can see if this joseki happens, you can see even black might ladder this because he has a ladder. You can see black has the wall facing the top side. White can also consider playing this move, but again, if black Ataris, and let's just say white plays a simple variation, you can see black again has a wall facing the top side. Yeah, so that's kind of the basic idea behind blocking here. Is that black is trying to play on the top side. And as opposed to blocking this direction, and let's say they play another very common variation, while black does have a wall here, black doesn't really have a lot of stones occupying this area, so it would still be maybe not easy, but white could be able to jump or invade later, and would be pretty difficult for black to attack as strong as possible. Whereas blocking on this side, you can see, let's say they do this variation, this one here. You can see black has much more stones in this upper side. So it'll be much harder for white to invade later. So that's the idea from blocking this side. So again, if you're not accustomed to the new 3-3 variations, this direction looks wrong, but actually correct here. White, of course, in the game played this one, which, if you don't know, is kind of like the new Taisha / Avalanche. If black wants to, black can back off, but again, this would allow white to play on the top side. So because of this, black has to play here, and this move starts the new crazy Joseki. Extend, push, block, and cut. Yeah, it's actually there's a lot of variations, and if you don't know the variations, it could be very costly. So this is actually, I've recently been uploading my Midwest Open games, and the one game I lost, the 3rd round game, this is I was talking about a game about how I decided my Joseki choice, and this is actually that game. Because in the game, usually black plays here. This is like the common Joseki move. But in this game, and thus in my tournament game, this is the move black played. So this is the quote-unquote infamous game, if you want to put it that way, that spelled my demise in my tournament game. So hopefully black gets a little better result than I did. White extends, black has to extend, and then white has to cover in the corner. Black would like to turn here, but white can cut and then extend here, threatening these stones in a ladder, but also threatening to capture these stones here. So even if black takes, these stones would actually run down to white's stone here. So because of this, white can only play this attachment here and this cut here if white has a ladder here. If white doesn't have the ladder, white has to play a different variation where white hanes and then cuts here, connects, and then connects. Where white's solid in the corner and black has a pretty nice outside, but white gets sente and there's some aji in this stone still. So, and this is because if white didn't have the ladder, when white cuts, let's say we do the exact same thing. At this point, if white can't capture this cutting stone or this stone right here at E15, white just dies in the corner. So white needs a ladder, but so white has the ladder. So white covers now, and black plays here, as opposed to just directly going here, which would force white to go here. Black would still get a nice outside, but white would get sente, and once white captures these stones, this stone here actually becomes very light for white. White does not care about that F18 stone, which means white's able to play moves like this. And even though black can cut, because white captured these 3 stones, white would just be able to ignore and just play on the top side. So this move is kind of a nuisance for black. So instead, black goes here, threatening this hane, and white plays a strange looking move, but it is the best move, because locally it is threatening this wedge here. So it's hard for black to answer, but black just extends. White jumps. If white hanes directly, black can cut later. And if white just captures, black can get this movement, this Atari, and you can see reduces white by a lot. If white tries to push through once, you can still see if white captures, Atari. If white pushes through again though, black can then capture here. And then white would need to capture in gote. Again, black wouldn't do this directly, but since black is dead locally anyways, white just extends again. Black then cuts and then goes here. So this is actually very important. So you might be wondering, why would black play here and then ignore? So the reason is, if we change the order of moves, if black goes here first and then goes here, this move would not be sente anymore. White could go elsewhere. Because if black tries to play in the corner, there's no way for black to win this semi between these white stones and these black stones, because white has an eye in the corner and black does not. But by going here first, without these exchanges, if white tries to ignore, black can extend, or maybe goes, yeah, black extends. And if white goes here, I'm pretty sure it changes, yeah, because black can extend once. It changes the life and death. Now black would win the semi in the corner. So black is just forcing white to answer here once, even though black doesn't care about these stones right now. So black is just using the oddity of these 3 stones before playing this move. And then black plays in the in the empty corner. And then white hanes. So black could have kept the pressure here because locally this is sente. If white ignores, black can throw in once. And if white takes, Atari, and then white's dead. Of course, white could go here, but again, black will get a super solid outside. So white would lose a lot of points this way. But black probably feels he can't play this in sente. Like if black extends once more, now it's not sente anymore. White's just alive here. Even though black can destroy white's shape, we can see that black just loses the semi-eye. So then black would need to ignore this. But then whether white hanes or cuts, you can see these 2 stones just get lost anyways. So because black ends in gote with those exchanges, that's why black ignored. Black would like to play here, but because it's gote, he doesn't have time to. So of course white's next move is to hane. And black counter hanes and white double hanes. Atari. Atari. Push. Atari. Connect. Hane. Atari. Atari. Push. Push once more. It's very hard for white to ignore this. But you can see black's really building that center, while white just calmly extends. And we can see white has a lot of points on the left side, but black has this giant moil forming in the center, and black has a weakness here, but for black to fix this, it would be a little too slow. So black just plays here, which is an insane move. White secured a ton of points on the left side, but black's saying, if I can get enough points in this moyo, I have more than enough to win. Plus, white's lower left corner is still invadable. So that's important to keep in mind too. So the question is, does white jump in, or does white just try to build the bottom or reduce from this side, or maybe cut here? White actually does choose to invade. Now, I want you to think for a second, where do you think white chooses to invade? Because like normal, we try to look for patterns when we invade, right? We want to look for similarities, and I would still see, okay, this corner's still open. Maybe I can do a shoulder hit like this. Maybe I can invade like this, or maybe invade here. Maybe I can play this sort of move, or this sort of move, you know? But the move white plays in the game is this one, which again is like, I don't know how he landed on this spot, but it's an invasion for sure, and it's pretty deep as well. So what I think the point of this move is if you play a quote-unquote normal move against this corner, like this one, or this sort of move, black's going to be able to solidify the corner and can still attack. So what white's trying to do is white's trying to play away from this corner so that hopefully, if all goes well, white will be able to invade there later. So if, let's say the fight only is localized in the center, well then later white might be able to play in the corner. But by making the fight in the corner initially, you can see that black would be able to solidify the corner and attack white. So that's kind of what I think he's doing. even with moves like this, it would kind of force black to play in the corner. So white doesn't want black to just make his profit in the corner while attacking. So that's why white is playing away from the corner, which I think is very smart. And it makes sense to me, at least. And again, my natural instinct would just to go here, because it's like, wow, look at all these points I'm making. But again, with the corner being open, plus this would be trying to make points with my wall, which is not, you know, proper fighting spirit or style. You want to push your opponent towards the wall. Even though this does feel pretty good, right? It would just kind of let white easily just run out. So black starts by trying to push white towards his strong side. White now shoulder hits. Black extends. And then white drops down. And then black plays at the shape point. Black maybe would like to pincer somehow. But this move not only weakens these two stones so much, but it helps white shape a bunch. So just black very calmly. I'm just taking away white's eye shape. Or taking away white's good shape, I should say. White peeps once. See how black answers. Again, with this stone here, this cut is too potent. So black needs to connect. And then white attaches. Besides this first move, which is kind of nebulous on what it's doing, you can see this move is a contact play. If black ignores, I'm going to be able to get local, what's the word? A local good exchange, I guess. Locally a good exchange. And you see white's playing very right up against black stones. And same here, white's playing contact plays. And that's what you want to do when you're invading somebody's moyo. You want to think about playing against stones, your opponent's stones. Because if you look at this board, black has this giant, what is that, almost 15 long or 16 long stone wall, right? It's a huge wall. But by attaching, locally we can see it's 3 liberties to 3 liberties. So you're making it such a super local fight. So that's the point of attaching. But black says, I don't care if you're attaching, I'm still going to play at your shape point. White hanes, and black extends, so you can see this is double peeping. And white plays a very sharp move by attaching. So as opposed to playing this sort of move, where if black extends, this cut still works, and then black would still be able to maybe do that once. See, white's still in a lot of trouble because this cut is still a thing. White, and even going here, whether black just not peeps, but just cuts directly or just hanes, we can see white's starting to get very heavy. So again, you want to think light. Don't care about a few stones here, just play on the other side. If black wants to take just a stone, let him. Right? Not sure exactly what white would do, but maybe white would just extend back. If black takes this stone, we can see white can maybe do this one. And you see, sure, black captured these 3 stones, but again, white's plan was, I'm going to live somewhere in the center, and I can still later potentially invade the upper right. It's a little tougher now, but there's still some aji in the upper right. And you can see it's kind of difficult for black actually what to do. Like if black plays here, cut. Let's say black tries to cut directly, white can play this sort of multi-purpose move. And if black does something like this, we can see it's not super clear yet what's going to happen. There's still a ton of aji there, but something like this. So yeah, black would like to go here, but he can't. Again, if black goes this way though, white would then be able to hane. So black just, this time black answers white's attachment, and again white cuts. Again, playing any move like this starts to get white to be heavy. You don't want to be heavy, so white just cuts. Black Ataris, and then white extends. So what has this cut done? Well, now black tries to push through. You can see this moves an Atari. And while maybe white wouldn't play this directly, maybe white would, but let's say white doesn't, white would then just be able to come out as well. So after this, black Ataris, white extends, and then connects, and then white connects. So you can see white has kind of forced black to connect white. So white doesn't care about these 3 stones or 4 stones here, but you can white only cares about the vital stones, which are these stones. So you notice how white was able to force black to connect white here. That's what you want. Again, black's probably not too unhappy either, because white still isn't alive, and black is getting some profit on the upper side. White connects, and then black plays the cap, which is also tengen, which is important to note. Yeah, very strong move, very strong move. Black's just not holding up at all. White connects though, and then black Ataris. Yeah, black Ataris. Directly, there's still some oddity here, which I'll get to in a second. And then white plays here, which I would be like, okay, how can I save those 2 stones? If I do this one, white would then be able to Hane here and just kind of get into my area. If I play a move like this, even though I can cut this, it's a little risky, and I just kind of, I'm only going after 1 stone. It's kind of difficult, right? But black again keeps his eyes on the prize, where knows he's attacking for profit, so black just extends. Sure, white's able to cut off these 2 stones, but white's still not alive, and you can see the profit black is getting on the right side. So this is, for sure, black's keeping his eyes on the prize. So I really like this move. And white attached. Again, also looking at this cut here, with these 2 black stones here. Hane, extend. Again, there's a cut here, and then black plays here. Which this move seems like a pretty risky move, doesn't it? It just kind of lets white cut. Black needs to take. What black doesn't want is to do this, and then let white go do this move in Sente. Because you can see it helps white get a base pretty easily here. Like white basically has an eye if white goes here. White might already be alive right now. So, yeah, this might be the only move to keep the pressure on white. But you can see white cuts. Black extends, offering a trade. If white wanted to, white could go here, and then black would Hane here. And if something like this happens, who's better? It's a tough question. Maybe I would like black because it is Sente, and this corner is still open, whether black invades at the 3/3 or an attachment. But conversely, let's say something like this. This corner is actually not as easily invadable because black's able to play a sort of move like this. And it's kind of difficult for white to live locally. So white just goes all in with this group. Black extends, and then white plays such a sharp move. If you can see this move, props to you. This is a common Tetsuji. Yeah, it's this move. So what is this move aiming at? So, one, white knows this move is Sente. Because black ignores, white's going to connect all his stones. But white leaves it on the board because he doesn't need to play it. So white just directly goes here. So if black plays something like this, white can then wedge. And if black cuts, white would then connect. And it's actually pretty hard for black after this. If black Hanes, white would be able to wedge. And if black Atari's here, which is a double Atari, white can play this one. And again, if black captures, this move is Sente. And then white would be able to Atari here and capture these stones here. If black, however, just goes here, white would then be able to extend. And something like this would result in white capturing these two stones in the center here. So basically, this is a very good move. Bottom line, that's what I'm trying to say. How does black answer? I think black does go here. Yeah, black does go here, and when white wedge, Ataris, and then descends down. Again, can't do anything like this, because his liberties would just be too short this way. So black just extends his liberties this way. White can Hane though, and then white plays at this shape point here. Again, there's so many ladders and cuts that black has to worry about. And black just extends here. For sure captures this stone here at K9, but also for the meantime reduces the Aji of this stone. But of course this means white's able to cut. But black says you're still not alive. Also this move not only takes away white's eye here, but also I don't know, whatever. It would allow black to Hane here later, which means this stone here is completely useless now, because if white tries to run the stone out, right, somehow there won't be an attack on these stones now, because black can capture these 5 stones in the center. So now white goes the only direction white can go now. So white has 2 eyes here, and black just pushes and cuts. White pushes once, and then it goes here. So this move, so if white Atari's this way, black would just be able to cut, and white saves the tail here, but the center is worth a lot. But by going here, what this is doing is it's actually protecting this cut in Sente, because let's say black tried to cut here. If black tried to cut, after black cuts, white can cut on this side, and you can see capture these stones here. So white is protecting this cut in Sente. You might think, oh, well, white can force with this move first and then get a definite eye here. But again, if this happened, black would then be able to cut. So white doesn't want to make these stones put in Atari, right? So that's why white doesn't make this exchange. Because it would make white an eye locally, but he would be able to get cut off. Connect, and then on it. White clamps. Black cannot do this because this move is Sente, which is threatening this move here. So let's say black plays there. White would then be able to cut, or Atari, Atari, Atari. And you can see this move, not only does this threaten a ladder here, but there is a bunch of bad Aji. Like, just for simplicity's sake, after this, white can go here and do it this way. And black's whole corner is dead, or these 3 stones are dead. So because of that, black connects. But even black connecting, if white does this, white still isn't alive. So what does white go? Oh, white peeps. Again, if black tries to push through and cut, if black pushes through and cuts on this side, white will connect. And again, it's very tricky for black. Black extends up this way. That's the best way to do this. Maybe just do this directly. It's actually pretty tricky to kill white after this because of this Hane. Yeah. It's this black shape is just not so good. So black just connects. White connects. Again, this is good because this is good timing because later black might not answer this, but since white knows black is trying to kill white, white can play there now. Comes down. Not really sure the point of this exchange. Might be a time move. White plays here, which is threatening to save that stone, and then white connects. So basically white has lived. It's basically an eye here, or white can jump out still. But you can see black was able to surround the right side and the top side. But it's gotta feel good for white, right? The top side isn't actually that big, and the right side is pretty big, but still feels a bit dissatisfactory for black. But black is able to play in the corner, attach Hane, and cut. Again, any quote-unquote normal move would just die pretty easily. So black cuts to see how white answers. White Ataris, and then comes down. I'm kind of curious about this move, though. I'm not sure why white doesn't play this one. Is it because Atari and cut, maybe? I honestly don't know. This looks good for white. Yeah, this feels like it gave black a lot of forcing moves, whereas this move feels pretty good. Not sure though, because you'll see Atari and then white comes down, but then black descends, which this is a good move, and this is a good order of moves as well. Black Atari's first, and then comes down. This move isn't necessarily sent to anymore. White could play a move like this, and black is not alive in the corner. Oops. Not alive in the corner, because black, this move is on the key point. But by going here first, if white tries to play the same move, black wouldn't make this exchange. Black would just turn. And you can see there's no way for white to cover here because this move is a double Atari. Which means if white has to go here, black would then be able to capture in the corner. So this is a good example of order of moves, is to send first, and then even though white goes here, black can still Atari later. But black plays this move first. This is a very good move. I would think about doing this, but it might be a little too forceful. So instead, it might still be okay, but this move is much more elegant, and it does the same thing, but you can see it. Black keeps all his liberties. If white plays a move like this, black's able to play like this. And maybe do this one. Is black alive? Yeah, black's alive. White goes there, black can do that. And then live like that. Yeah, so black's alive. So that's what it's threatening, so that's why white plays here. But then black Hanes, which again is a very sharp move. White pushes through, can't let black get this Atari, and then Atari, and then connect. So now black is alive on the side. White covers though, black Ataris, and locally black needs to answer to live. But I think at this point black counted and was like, I do not have time to play Gote and live here. So black plays elsewhere. Let's just say black plays, I don't want to show where black played yet because it's kind of a spectacular move, but just to show that black would be dead here. After this, black makes space as big as possible. So the question is, can black live? If black descends down, white can wedge. And if black tries to block, white kills by going here. This move is threatening to connect. So there's no way for black to keep white from connecting or make two eyes. Black goes here, white can extend. If black blocks, white can take. And this is a false eye. Really no other move. Again, if black goes here, white can just Atari. Actually, no. White would just play here. Again, black can almost make two eyes, but these two spots are me eye. If black goes here, white can Atari this and make it a false eye. If black goes here, white can go here and make this a false eye. So this seems like a pretty important move. So what if black gets this move? White can just Hane. And again, at this point, as long as white just Hanes on the first line, there's no way black can make two eyes. Yeah. Again, just Hane here. There's no way for black to make two eyes. There's nothing black can do. So again, black needs to answer to live, right? But black doesn't have time to. So in the game, black still is keeping his eye, or I should say black realizes black's only hope of winning at this point is to be able to do something about this center group. So black wants to attack this center group, but black doesn't want to play too directly, because if white just lives, black wouldn't get any compensation for this move. So where does black play? Whenever you have a group that you're trying to attack, you want to look at its nearby friends. So these center stones are looking to connect with these bottom stones here. So you want to harass these stones here. So where does black play? Right here. And this move is like super awesome. I love this move. So what is the point of this move, right? What is it doing? Again, it is looking at the center. And if white just pulls back, you can see white would get two cutting points. After this, if black tries to play strongly, you can see there's black has some more friends in the area, and black has weakened white's shape. As opposed to playing a move like this, again, if white just ignores, your follow-up is not as severe, right? You can do this, but white would just live with 12 points in the corner and be happy, right? Whereas, of course, if white ignores this move, your follow-up is amazing. Same thing with this one, white would just be happy to connect because white's corner is just that good. And black's shape here is pretty clunky. It's not doing much. So this move it's an awesome move. You want to get better, you got to just even consider and think about these kind of moves. Because, you know, it's not a move that's in Joseki books. It's not a move that's in Tesuji books, really. So just every Go game's different. So sometimes move that might seem bad in one game might be good in another game. And that's what I love about Go. Of course, white can play on this side. But black extends. And when white connects, black then jumps. So again, as opposed to playing here first, black has already created the Aji here. So now white needs to play differently, right? Now black could potentially take out white's base or kill the center. So of course white keeps his eyes on the center because of course they're both professional. They both know what black's trying to do. So white attaches, black hanes, white clamps, black hanes, white ataris, white extends, and then black plays here, which is a really sharp move. So what it's obviously looking at this point here. So white would like to be able to get this move, but after black plays here, black can then play this funny looking move, but really it's just looking to cut here. If white protects, if black covers here, if white plays here, black can play a move like this. And you can see white doesn't have two eyes. So white's unable to answer locally, so white turns. But then black's able to cut. And you can see now, because black has already created the Aji here, now black was able to cut here. But it's because black played on this side first. Again, black wanted to attack the center, but doing it locally, you know, just doing something, or I guess this is the move black played in the game. If white just plays something like this, if black did this later, white might will just be like, okay, you can have your weird stones here that aren't doing much. But because black did this first, it's all about order of moves. Hane, attach, blah blah blah. And then white extends. Black cannot cut because white can save these stones and capture the 5 stones. So white Hanes. Black Hanes back. Again, white's unable to Hane here. Because if black goes here, well, actually, what's the best way to do this? Would this be good for white? Maybe not. White can go here, force black to go here, and white can connect, but then black can play this move, which is Sente, this move, which is Sente, and basically capture this. Even black going here, you can see black has gained so much. So that wouldn't be satisfactory, so white just plays here. Again, extending his liberties. This move allows black to cut. Even, I think black would actually cut here is the issue. Yeah, this is the problem. Yes, okay. That makes more sense. But both, I think, would be bad for white. Oops. Oops. Sorry. White extends. Black pushes again. White Ataris. And then black counter Ataris, which might look weird. It's like, oh, now you're just playing a giant Ko. But actually, black would be able to play here, which is an Atari on these 4 stones. And you can see white's unable to connect. And even though white can capture this stone, that would not be a second eye. So white just comes back. After this, white just comes back. Black fixes. And then white Hanes, Ataris, and then comes back and makes the eye here. So white definitely is alive here. But white did reduce black a little bit here. And black has this corner. And then black turns. So black turns here, but this allows white to 1 push here, which is maybe not directly Sente, but a pretty big move. And then white comes back and kills here. Let's say black lived here. This sort of thing would happen. Atari. And actually, is black worried about... Oh, is black's actually worried about this move. Like this. Because this is an Atari on these stones. So black needs to go this side. But again, this move is Sente. Okay, so that move is actually Sente. And even though this did work earlier, because these stones have no liberties, now black would just be the one who's dead. Okay. So this move is definitely Sente. Okay. So this isn't just a big move, this is actually Sente. Good to know. Good to know. It's crazy how they can read all this out in like 15-second moves. It's crazy. So now white comes back and kills black. Black wedges though. And then comes back. Time Suji, I'm assuming. Time Suji again. And then black blocks. White Hanes. And then comes down. So I think white can actually do this sort of thing. And play here. And it would make it a Ko in the corner. I don't know if doing this first is better or not, but just for the sake of showing you the Ko. This Ko. Yeah, it's probably not good doing it first because when black takes, it's an Atari. But you get the idea. This would be a Ko. What I was worried about, though, is if black can do this one. But I guess it doesn't matter because, yeah. So just do it this way. This way you can see white would at least have a local threat here. Just making sure this is actually a threat. But yeah, white would be able to go here. Excuse me. So I would think about... This move feels pretty big. I guess black could just give it up and let white connect. Which would be Gote, but still. I like... Seems big. Of course, white's move is still pretty big as well. Black now does descend. White plays here. This is preventing this cut here. Before, black could play here, but now black can't. Or black could cut off these 5 stones now black can't. Black Hanes. Black finally takes here. White Atari's here, which is pretty big. And if black just connected, can white? Because black doesn't connect, which is why I'm like, why wouldn't black connect? It would be the first instinct, right? Is he worried about this cut? He Atari's through. Looks. Oh, actually, it's not. Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe this cut is why. If black Atari's here first, even though black can peep here, white can connect here and connect all these stones. Okay, I think so. It must be this cut that black is worried about, or black just misread because black cut here, which looks like, yeah, black just misread. What he wants is, if white takes, black can then connect here, and then if white goes here, black would then be able to come back. But if white takes here, black would be able to push through. But in the game, white just Atari'd here, and yeah, black just resigns here because this is just a reading error. Black goes here, white can push through, and it's just all bad for black now. But I think before this, white was just winning anyways. This lower left / left area is just too big, even though black did end up capturing the bottom right. Yeah. So at this point, after white took here, black resigned. But yeah, pretty crazy game, and I really do think you can learn a lot in not only invading Moyos, but how to deal with invasions as well. I think both players played pretty well, which is what you expect, right? 2 professionals, two top 100 professionals as well. So yeah, very, very interesting game. Lots of fun reviewing this game, for sure. But hopefully you all enjoyed the video as well. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. I'll be sure to read it. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.